everyone. Welcome back to Heartbeat Narratives. My name is Molly, and I'm your host. And today, our guest is Hiʻilei from the island of Maui. And I'm so incredibly excited to welcome her because we met a few months ago, and I was like, this wahine is a powerhouse. You taught us at this retreat how to build planter boxes out of pallets. You came with your saws and your screwdrivers and everything, and I was like, I have to interview you because you have so much heart in everything that you do. So, mahalo for coming, Hi'ilei. I know it's Sunday morning where you're at, so good morning.
Good morning. Aloha.
Aloha. So, when we first met back in June, you were sharing a bit about what you do for work, and you work in construction, but you have all this other meaning and purpose behind what you do for your community on Maui. It really resonated with my heart, and I felt like you would be the perfect person to interview for Heartbeat Narratives because you shine. Literally, you shine. And so, mahalo for doing this. And I just wanted to kick it off with, where is home for you?
So I am from Lāhainā, Maui. And so home is near and dear, especially after the wildfire tragedies, being able to come back and give back to this community and dive in headfirst. Being a carpenter and helping with this rebuild has really focused in my purpose of what I want to be doing in this world. And I guess I got to go backtrack a little bit and talk about carpentry and how I got into that. And so I've been a carpenter for the past 10 years now. I was in college, and my other half's dad at the time was in the union, and he's a carpenter. And he brought home material one day, and I told him I could make cabinets, and I just built cabinets, and that was it. Like, he sat me down. He told me how much money he made in the union, his vacation checks, what kind of clothes to wear, what kind of tools I would need. And I really took that to heart because he was like a stern Samoan man. And it took a lot for him to say something like that to me. And so I immediately dropped out of college, moved back home to Maui and joined the union. One of the best decisions I ever made. I feel like it was really hard to be in this male dominant field because I literally can count on my hand how much women are in the carpenters union. And so just to work with grown men every day, it takes a different breed, I would say. You have to have some really thick skin and be able to handle your own.
That's incredible that you felt such a strong connection to that particular career path, like right away. It's like you knew immediately that that was where you're supposed to be. What did a typical day look like for you when you first started?
So yeah, my apprenticeship, it was really hard. You start at 7 a.m., you finish at 3:30. Your lunches are only half an hour. You have to bring home lunch. You can't leave the job site to get lunch anywhere. And so it's like, and physically demanding. You're drenched in sweat by 7:10. But I feel like my childhood and being so competitive in sports really shaped me and prepared me for that moment, or being in this industry, working as hard as I have. I just was blessed to actually, like, I pick up things faster than a lot of other guys have. And so I was blessed to have mentors that took me under their wing and showed me more things than other apprentices were learning at the time. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all the opportunities I ever had. I know that it all helped lead me to where I am today and how it is helping me help my community.
I'm curious what sports you growing up because I feel like there's a direct connection between like physicality in sports and being in physical type jobs because you have to exert so much and be like totally focused.
Yeah. So I actually was playing basketball at UH Manoa when I met Uncle. And so I was just all in with basketball, especially throughout my high school. I graduated Lāhainā and we won a state title. Just the mindset of winning was ingrained from high school, of like the grit, the determination, the resilience, the hard work that you have to put in, the time and the effort, it like literally translated directly to construction. I would go to work looking to compete with men. Oh, you think you can swing hammer better than me? Like, let's go. It just correlated really well for me.
And so basketball was like your life growing up?
Yeah, basketball in Lahaina was huge for our community, and especially at that time, the girls that I played with, to this day, we still are so tight, and we're a close knit group of girls that we just shared so much of like hardships together in high school that even though we're 15 years out, we still have that bond no matter how much time passes. I feel like that correlates to our community entirely. Of the bonds that we made over the years, like through this devastation, I feel like it brings us closer. We're gonna be there with each other through all the hard times, no matter what.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Maui a lot lately because my dad's side is from Maui, not in Lahaina, but Wailuku and Kihei and upcountry and haiku. There's this special place in our hearts for Maui, and like all my cousins, my aunties and uncles, and my grandma and grandpa were living there until they passed. Maui is a special place, and I wasn't lucky enough to grow up there, but hearing you speak and knowing that your community is still so close and like you're still giving back. I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question, but the wildfires were 2 years ago. And where were you when all of that happened? And how did you like jump into action? Because I know that you were involved right away.
It's so crazy because I've been working in the union for so long. There's non-union work and union work, and it's a preference of what you would prefer as a worker. A lot of local bravas work in the union because it's consistent work and they can provide for their families. So the day of the fire, I was actually working at Grand Wailea, which is a really high-end hotel on the south side of Maui, and we were renovating the spa. And so I had no clue what was going on or anything like that. And then fast forward, like throughout the next week or so, I didn't go back to work. I just told my boss, I got to go take care of my family. I got to go see if they're even alive, and just go figure out what's going on. And I was making truck runs. Me and my basketball girls were loading up a bunch of food and whatever we might need, gas, ice, like in my truck and driving to Lahaina and dropping it off at hubs and anything. And I feel like everybody was doing that. But, as time went on, as I got the call back from my boss of like, are you ready to come back to work? And it was such a huge, like, such a hard no for me because I couldn't find it in me after the fire. Like, everything just was like, my family is struggling. I have family, friends, classmates living on the beach, and you're asking me to come back and renovate this spa for tourists. What? And that's where I really felt like, personally, I felt like I was a part of the problem. Like how people say price out of paradise. That was like a spitting image to me of like, that is legit what we're doing. We're not helping our people. We're helping the wrong people that have no ties to this land, who don't really care. So how do I change that narrative for myself? And so I didn't really take any more union work after that, and like, and nothing against the union. They gave me everything that I know, and like, I really earned my wings through the apprenticeship and journeying out and all the things. And like, even young boys that asked me what they should do, I said, join the union, join the apprenticeship. I send them that way because it really is going to make or break you. But for me, where I am right now in my life, I want to be helping my people. I want to be in the rebuild, helping my friends make their houses, make their homes to come back to. And so that's where I stand in the construction world, how I feel about it.
From that moment, other opportunities started coming your way. And what did those look like for you?
It was my past paddling coaches, like my teacher from Lahaina Luna High School, my woodshop teacher, being able to work with these uncles. And they are like community leaders in Lahaina. I just was lucky enough to have known them, and they took me in and brought me onto their crew. We've been helping and rebuilding homes in Lahaina. And it's like so fulfilling, you know. Sometimes we're working for money and sometimes we're working for free. Like auntie and uncle actually really need help, but we're just gonna show up and go help them. It's like the little things and they have the biggest hearts. The act of service is such a huge value for me in my life currently. They have the biggest hearts that just want to help and serve on people. And so how do you surround yourself with uncles and men who love and take care of people and not have the same kind of heart, you know?
So you're rebuilding houses for families of people that you know. What does that look like day to day? Because that must feel so good because it's like extended family. The way ʻohana is, the way our people took care of each other before, we were all so interconnected.
Yes. It feels so great. Honestly, it just feels like a normal day, you know, and like with the uncles, we just crack jokes all day. We're working hard, but we don't really see it until we see the family come back home. They're crying. They're just grateful. And that's the stuff that people don't get to see all the time of like the gratitude from families of like, thank you for helping me. I feel like I'm really walking in my purpose now. The past 10 years wasn't for nothing. And this moment was created for me to actually dive in and give back to the people who helped raise me. A lot of who I am today is because of the community and the love that they gave me as a child. And so now I get to dive back in and give it back to them. And so that is what really drives me today.
I feel like a little bit speechless because to be so aligned with your gifts, your skill, and your community, and at such a young age, because I feel like maybe you're in your late 20s or early 30s,
Yeah.
around that space, to find that purpose this early, I think is like really unique. It seems like it takes a lot of people like their whole lives to realize what they're supposed to be doing with their hana, your gifts. You're unleashing
Mhm.
grace and everything that you have within you, your skills, and you're sharing it with the people you care about the most. Not many people can say that they're doing that, especially for Hawaii.
I think just the rebuild itself, you know, I feel like there's a lot of friends and family that don't know what they should be doing, but there's so much ways that you can help your own community. And like to me, serving others always is a key. Once you put others before yourself and you can just give and just love on people, Ke Akua is going to provide for you. So I feel like if we all had that same kind of mindset, the world would be a better place. I would just emphasize the act of service and loving on others regardless. You don't know what kind of day people are having. You don't know what your interaction with someone might do for them. You know, if you had a bad interaction with somebody, you don't know if they were having suicidal thoughts. And like if you had a great interaction, you don't know if you just saved them from that. And so just giving aloha no matter what.
As someone who is from Lahaina, envisioning the future and what it can be and look like and feel, what are like your biggest dreams for the Lahaina rebuild and beyond?
Honestly, I just want everyone to come back home. Since the fire, I feel like more than half of the families already left Hawaii. We literally priced out of Hawaii and the rebuild is too costly. How do you expect people to pay their mortgages on their burnt home and pay rent to still live in Maui? It's ridiculous what families are facing right now. And so ultimately what I really want is just for the rebuild to happen as quickly as possible and to get families back home, to be on our aina, to be on this land, to be in the community. You can't go to food land and not see someone you know. Like that's how small Lahaina is. And so wanting to see familiar faces that I haven't been seeing, I miss I miss our people. And so ultimately that's all I really care about, you know, and like getting our water back to Lahaina. That is huge. That is a huge fight for Lahaina. I already know I have my wings stretched to where I'm at. And so I'm only going to put in where I can right now. And this is my fight just to help and rebuild. That is my driving force.
How do you, like, block out the noise when you're focused on this rebuild? Because I feel like you are pulled in a lot of directions.
I am. And I feel like I'm slowly trying to isolate myself a little bit more because I get involved in too many friend groups and so many events going on that it does take me away from what I should be doing. I'm starting to zone in more and more. I can't be spreading myself too thin. And so knowing my purpose when I do this kind of work, it requires all of me. At the end of the day, I'm like exhausted beyond like, I need to get out of the sun. It's so hot in Lahaina. I just need AC and ice bath and don't talk to me. Just knowing that my body has limits of how much I can endure. Trying to find boundaries with my different friend groups and the different people I let into my circle. Because if I don't set boundaries, then
There goes all your energy.
yeah, there goes everything.
Kind of on that same topic, because you're giving so much of yourself, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and, like, spiritually, really, like, channeling everything into your purpose. What does that self-care look like? You said AC and ice baths,
Yes.
boundaries, like, what else do you do? I think when you have such a physical job, you really have to nurture yourself.
I love days when I do nothing. Usually Sundays is my like full reset day. I just relax at home or I'll jump in the water at the beach, just like a quick dip, nothing extreme and just reset and think about the week to come. It's hard to talk about years in advance because I can only think about what's my next week looking like at this point because well, what do I have to do, where I'm going to have to be and how I can help in different areas, like I have different like uncles rebuilding or my best friend rebuilding her house. Where can I go and help them in my free time? So it's just looking 1 week at a time for me right now.
So in every interview, I ask the one big question, tell me about what makes your heart beat. What is that for you, Hiʻilei?
I think it's my family, it's my community, it's our people. I think the gratitude I feel when I go and help, the abundance that comes in pouring into people, that is a feeling that you cannot replace. Service, that's what makes things easy for me. It's like so clear as day. When I help others, it pours into myself as well. If I'm pouring into my cup, not just theirs. That's what makes my heart beat of like my driving force. And I wanting to get people back and heal these families in a way that not everyone can help. So that would be mine.
Mahalo for that. You've inspired me to think a lot about purpose, and for people who might be listening who want to get into like carpentry, into construction, what would your advice be to them? Say that they're like 18 years old, or maybe they want to do a career change. I know you said join the union because you learned everything there, but are there other things?
There are, unless you like have family connections or you have an uncle or someone that works in the trades that will take you in. I feel like it's harder to start in the non-union world. And that's in every trade, like electrical, plumbing. You just get thrown into the fire of it, and like to me, like that's the best way to learn. Just figure out how to swim. And you're gonna figure out if you really like it or not off the bat. It's not a career for everyone. It's really physically demanding and it requires a mental toughness. If you've never done physical things in your life, this is not a trade for you at all. I just believe if you're willing to try, go for it. And hopefully you get put in the right situation where someone sees something in you and they can take you in. 18-year-olds, yeah, those young boys, I tell them, don't go to college. You're going to go get debt. Join the union. You're making 22 off the bat. Like you make good money. I feel like trade school is a way better choice than pursuing a degree. And that's just my own personal take on it. The traditional mindset is kind of outdated at this point. Degrees don't mean you're gonna make money, but trades, at least you can help. It's a skill that not just gonna help you, but you can help others. There's always something good in it.
You were talking about this earlier, but being one of the few women in a male dominated field, how do you hold your own? I feel like it takes a mix of personality, but also this inner strength. And you're very petite too. And I love
Yes.
that you wear your pearl earrings. That stood out to me because I remember you were like holding a chainsaw and you had like delicate little pearls in it. And I'm like, wow, she's really balancing like the feminine and the masculine within herself. And it totally works. How do you do that?
I'm not sure, honestly. I like to think I was supposed to be a boy because I just have a dominant personality when it comes to work. And I feel like as women too, you need to show that again with men. Like whether you know it or not, every job site, guys are trying to test you and see what you know. If you cannot hold your own, if they don't respect you, you're gonna hear that every single day and you're gonna know it. And so I would always be the one that would challenge guys first and just, like test them and what they know. What are we doing? Just check if they actually understand what the task at hand is.
You turn it around.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. On the job sites, I really try and wear baggy clothes. That's something that my uncle did say when he first told me about working in the field that men on job sites, their attitudes change for some reason when they're surrounded by dudes all day. And so I wear baggy clothes, like no tight pants, don't ever wear tight pants, don't ever wear a tight shirt. I try and look like a boy. In the union, I would wear masks to cover my face. So guys didn't really know I was a girl until they shook my hand or they heard me talk. They would be like, "Oh, I thought you were a little boy." That was something that helped me not draw the wrong attention to myself, to just actually see me for my work and what I was putting out. And so I feel like women in the trade gotta kind of do that same thing. You don't want to be attracting the wrong attention to yourself. You want to be respected for your work. So show that. And then you have to hide yourself pretty well as well.
That's so interesting because in such a specific field, that is what gets you ahead, the merit, the work
Mm.
alone. Wow, I never thought about that. What you have had to go through. Has that changed now that you're more established?
No, I still try and dress like a little boy. It just become my identity already. No, regardless if that's my uncles and I've known them my entire life, I don't want them to feel uncomfortable looking at their niece like, girl, what you wearing over here? And so I still want to make it a cohesive job site no matter what. Nothing really changed.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Mahalo for sharing all of that because I feel like that's a very helpful thing, especially for like the handful of women who might enter the field.
Yeah. The work has to come first. If you are trying to join the trade for other reasons, and like I would say as a girl, if you let guys carry your material for you, no, girl, carry your own material. Show them that you're more than capable of doing that. No, don't touch my tools. Like I got my own tools. That's like the way you earn respect is the little things of don't let men try and belittle you. I would just say you gotta stick it to them.
What is your favorite thing to build or the best thing that you've built so far?
I like framing houses. Framing is so fun. And like you see progress in one day. You can stand up all the walls for a house in one day. Every day you go home, you see how much you got done in one day. And that's like the benefit with our type of work. The progress is instant, especially if you work hard and you jam, you get things done. But I'm actually working on a project for my high school basketball coach. And this is like a whole different intricate side of woodworking that I've never really done before. And so this has been a challenging task for me, trying to figure out how to put these things together for him. But I know in the end it's going to pay off and it's going to look great. But yeah, that's probably my biggest project I got going on. That's from the heart, but it's just completely different skill set than what I'm normally doing. So it's cool. I'm enjoying it.
Do you have all these tools at your house? What does your setup look like at home?
So you need to have a nail gun, you need to have a skill saw, a table saw, a chop saw. These are all things that you would need on a regular job. And then you have your tool belt with a hammer, speed square, tape measure, pencil, level, a chalk line. These are all the basic tools for any carpentry job. Over the years, you start picking them up, like, oh, actually, I might need this. And I always wait for like Black Friday deals, and then I'll go shopping and buy a bunch of tools at one day. So you collect them over the years. Don't go buying everything out the gate. You don't have money at first. You gotta slowly buy things that you need.
And do you have other life hacks as a carpenter of things that make the job more efficient or that you've learned over time?
There is tricks in the little things, but you can't just give that to a brand new apprentice. Like, you gotta go and earn that. Go pound your hand on the nail a little bit and hammer to your your finger and figure it out for yourself before you start giving away the little tricks. But I think that the longer you're in something, you find different ways of building and doing things. And so there's many hacks for every trade and every tool.
The life hack is to just experience it.
The experience, yes, that is the like that.
So, what's on the horizon for you? It sounds like you're in your purpose, but what else
Yeah.
is going on?
This is pretty much all I have going forward for the next several years. I'm just gonna put my head down and this is what I'm gonna be pounding away. And I know that there's gonna be opportunities that come from this just by, having that heart of giving and loving on people, that I know that opportunities will come and Ke Akua will provide. I'm just gonna keep walking my journey, and that who knows, maybe a couple years from now, roles will be reversed. I'll be interviewing you or something.
Yeah, you're just totally open to whatever comes forward.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to share?
I think we covered everything. I'm grateful to be on this podcast and thank you for thinking of me. Excited to hear more stories that you have coming out.
Mahalo for just pouring your heart into what you do, but also sharing in this conversation because I feel like your slice of the world is so unique and most people will never be in your shoes. But to hear it directly from you, we don't hear a lot of on the ground stories from Lahaina that's not in traditional media, but you're from the community and this is your day to day life and you're stoked about it, but you're also approaching it from this perspective of this has to be done for the benefit of the people that you love. So just mahalo for everything that you're doing. I feel so lucky that you were open to sharing because I know we only met one time.
No, it was great. Thank you for asking.
Mahalo, everyone, for tuning in to this episode. We look forward to catching you on the next one. Aloha.